was a professional investor for 30 years. I thought of the job as solving complicated puzzles with many variables, and I was pretty good at it. But these days, I'm working on a different kind of puzzle, the Trump-Russia relationship. And I'm more and more alarmed as the pieces come together. It's crazy. The first thing you have to know is how Russia works. When Vladimir Putin first came to power, he made an offer to Russia's new class of business tycoons. Pledge loyalty and get rich, or reject this bargain and find yourself in jail, exile, or worse. That means that in Russia, business is politics, and politics is business. The second thing you have to understand is that Mr. Trump spent the 1990s and 2000s mired in bankruptcy and debt. In the early 1990s, his corporate empire owed a combined $4 billion to more than 70 banks. Abe Wallach, who served as a Trump Organization executive, compared his joining the company to getting on the Titanic just before the women and children were moved to the lifeboats. In 1991, the New Jersey Casino Control Commission, the regulator of Trump's Atlantic City casinos, concluded that Mr. Trump cannot be considered financially stable. And as Trump's financial catastrophe carried on with 2 additional bankruptcies in 2004 and 2009, his problem grew beyond specific losses. American banks simply stopped doing business with him, citing what they called Donald risk. If Wall Street shuts you out, there aren't many ways to fund big real estate projects. He was in real trouble, unless he was willing to cut corners. And here's where those corrupt Russian industrial bosses come in. They needed a place to park their money, and real estate was an attractive solution. As long as Trump asked no questions, the Russians were willing to invest in his properties. Over-leveraged real estate developer meets shady investors who need to avoid scrutiny. It's a match made in heaven. In September 2008, Donald Trump Jr. boasted of the Russian money pouring in and observed that Russians make up a pretty disproportionate cross-section of a lot of our assets. Eric Trump praised Russian buyers, telling reporters, as the experience of the past few years shows, the best property buyers now are Russian. Russian money is how Trump survived, and it involved more than just his real estate business. For instance, Trump got a reported $20 million to bring the Miss Universe pageant to Moscow in 2013. With so much secrecy surrounding the Trump Organization, however, there could be other deals we aren't aware of. The fact is, no one outside his inner circle knows exactly how deep these Russian ties run. To get a real sense of them, we need to look at his tax returns, as we've done with every other president in recent history. But Mr. Trump refuses to let those come to light, which raises a simple question. What is he hiding? A president this dependent on Russian money poses a terrifying threat to America. Looking back on the connections Trump established as a businessman, the evidence increasingly points to a years-long relationship where Russians are in control. We need to get to the bottom of this, because if our president is controlled by a hostile foreign power, that would mean he can't act in our best interest. He has to do what they tell him. If you aren't scared, you aren't paying attention.